Buckle up, baby.
Punch it, I'm Jacob, and welcome back to That's Just Crait, the show where we talk about everything Crait about Star Wars. First off, again, thank you so much to everybody who's joined in and listened to the podcast so far on Spotify, on YouTube. We really appreciate you watching and listening to the podcast. We've received a lot of support, and I've said that the past couple episodes, but there's never going to be a time, I feel like at least, whenever we can't start off with that. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like we've gotten a lot of really kind words and support. So thank you again to everybody who's listened and watched and just kind of supported us and the podcast in any way. I know that it really means the world to us. And today's going to be a really fun one because we're joined by Hannah's friend Kailey. Kailey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey there. Happy to be here.
Great to have you here. I know that you're excited to talk about one thing specifically in terms of Star Wars books, so I'm very excited to talk about that. But also, I do want to start off the podcast by saying this, and I made a post about this on Twitter, and I don't want to be yapping the entire time, so I'll try to make this really, really quick. But it's something that meant a lot to me, so I would feel bad if I didn't start off with this. The other day, about a month ago by this point, I had a really, really bad day, and really a bad week to where everything that everything that could go wrong just kind of went wrong. And a lot of people on Star Wars Twitter didn't know what was kind of going on IRL, but they had seen a lot of negativity thrown at me online. And so I did not know what was coming in the mail. I just knew that Brooke, who we've had as a guest on the podcast before, at Princess of Naboo, she had kind of put something together with the Star Wars Twitter community, and I got this Yoda Episode 1 promotional cup in the mail, and whenever I opened it up, it was notes from so many people, just notes of encouragement and appreciation from so many people, and just reading through all of these notes genuinely meant the world to me. And in the past couple weeks where it's just been very stressful and very tough, Star Wars Twitter and talking about Star Wars with you guys on the podcast as well has really just kind of been my time to kind of breathe and take a minute from all of the stress kind of going on in real life. And it was just getting this gift in the mail and reading all of these notes. It genuinely brought me to tears, and it really meant a lot to me. So to everybody that did write a note or was involved with this gift, I really appreciate it a lot. It really is great to know that there's so much support out there and so many people that appreciate not just me, but us and so many others talking about Star Wars online. And I think it's really cool that people talking about Star Wars online in a positive and respectful way, at the very least respectful way, can leave such a mark on the fandom and can mean so much to a fandom. And Hannah, I even think that you replied to the tweet that I think you said something like, "This is what fandom's about."
Yes, it is what this fandom is about.
It meant so much. So to everybody involved with that, I wanted to start off this podcast by saying thank you. Again, I knew something was arriving in the mail, but I had no idea what it was. And this is something that I'm going to cherish forever. So thank you so much to everybody who was involved in that. I genuinely can't express how much that means to me. I also want to quickly start on my end, before I kind of pass the mic a little bit, and say I am working on a new video that will hopefully release either this week or next week. I wanted to release one last week with the Yoda Q&A stuff that we kind of did a little bit on the podcast, which was fun. But to be honest, I just have not had the time. I've really only had the time for the podcast, but I'm working on a new video. I've got one that's already filmed that I'm editing a little bit, so hopefully I can get it out before Andor, because it's actually about the Acolyte, because I rewatched it a while ago and I wanted to talk about it. So before Andor season, I definitely want to drop that, but it should be a really fun time. But before I kind of continue, how have you guys been? I feel like I just kind of started the podcast by talking a lot.
Just talking, just yapping away. I kind of feel bad because I didn't see the post that you're talking about.
I saw it. It was great, Jacob.
I didn't see the post that you made about having a terrible weekend. Everybody sending you stuff. I
Oh,
feel
never mind.
horrible
I was thinking about the wrong thing. I was thinking about the cup part, not the bad parts.
Oh.
I saw those briefly.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm hoping everything.
I saw the
No,
cup.
Yeah. You can't put it down.
Couldn't
No.
put it down.
I can't put down the cup. Oh boy.
Ah,
Go right next
stop
to
it,
the
chicken.
Watto
Just go
bottle.
right back to me.
Yeah. He's
It
just gonna
actually
collect
is.
collectible cups right now. I think he's gonna have like a pantry or a cupboard going on.
Dude,
Who's the
Logan,
next
they've been
character you're
showing
going for?
up.
I
So it's
remember-
funny you say that, Hunter.
Are you gonna get the
I'm
MTT
sorry,
water
Logan.
cooler?
I want to. That's like
Ooh,
that is like my holy
ooh.
grail. That's my
a
holy
good
grail
one.
because I need it for this summer, and I also my white whale Star Wars collectible item is the Wookiee water blaster from Revenge of the Sith. I had one when I was a kid. It's like a super soaker that looks like the Wookiee blaster. I don't know what happened to it. I think my dad just threw it away or something. But like, it's so cool.
That's
but
so
that
cool.
with the MTT cooler would be perfect for summer. So
to
that's
get
like next
the-
on my list.
You have to get the Watto Pepsi machine, like the vending machine.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that's
Seen
gonna be
that?
great. Ask
Yeah.
my wife if we
Only-
can put that in the house.
That's
Exactly.
It's only $440 on eBay.
Oh, there you go.
Only-
It's
Easy
okay.
money.
Klarna
Easy money.
exists.
You could use your Disney money.
Yeah, use your
Exactly,
Disney money,
the
use your
shill
YouTube money,
bucks.
Yeah.
or you can get this one for $420. Blaze it,
Cut
baby.
Oh, there you go.
check.
Yeah, cut the check.
Honestly, how hard could it be to make your own though? I feel like I might just try to make my own because
That'd
it's
be
so
kinda
expensive
cool.
and just
That'd
make
be
a
fun.
little
Yeah,
video
I'd
out of it, like a DIY project.
Yeah. I like that. I support it.
But no, it's funny you said, Hunter, like what water bottle or what episode 1 bottle do you want next? No joke. And I think that Logan, you said something too. No joke. They've been calling to me. They've just been showing up recently. A couple
Green
weeks
Goblin.
ago, I was walking.
Exactly.
Dude, that's how they talk to me. The water bottles over here, just like finish it.
We have
No, but it was funny because they're side by side on my shelf, the Yoda and the Watto bottle. Which, if you don't know, the Watto bottle is what I call the Watto.
I know about
the
it.
Watto episode 1
Yeah.
promotional cup. It just kind of rolls off the tongue, you know. But a couple weeks ago, I was walking around a thrift store with my wife, and they didn't have the cup. If they had the cup with it, I would have bought it. They only had the cup topper, and it was the Newt Gunray one. And I was like, yo,
gosh.
like, I want this one so bad. So that is probably the next one on my list. I have to get, like, all of the Glup Shittos, I feel like, you know?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, what's going to make it great. But I'd love to have, like, a complete collection of all of them, and I think that I'm actually going to try to make an MTT cooler for this summer. I think that would be a really cool project. So
That'd be really cool.
I might actually do that. That'd be fun. But on that note, aside from like the bottles and stuff and things like that, again, have you guys just been doing good whenever it comes to stuff in general?
I'm feeling a little sick, but other than that, I'm rather chilling.
Don't get sick.
Well, I'm glad that you're not entirely sick.
Yeah. We'll see how I'm
Hunter,
feeling
what about
within
you?
24 hours.
You know, the post-Disney depression is really hitting. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you just need to go back.
That's always the worst feeling.
Yeah, are you gonna pay for my trip, Logan?
About that.
No, but once we monetize the podcast, we can.
Once
Yeah.
we start raking in millions of dollars,
All
I'll just
$3.
move to Disney.
Exactly.
Once we
We
put,
love it.
become, once we have 4 million YouTube subscribers, and become the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel,
Oh yeah.
we will.
Oh, yeah.
go
We're
to
getting
Disney
there.
World all the time.
I think
Slowly
we
but
can do
surely.
it.
We're just gonna buy
We have to
Disney.
do
Oh.
it big. I don't want to jump too ahead of ourselves, or myself, I guess, but like, no, it's ourselves. We all contribute. I don't want to jump too ahead of ourselves, but I do think it would be really. We need to do something big for like 100K. Whenever like we
Absolutely.
inevitably, hopefully hit that point, I think we need to
Yeah.
have like a big celebration or something.
Give it 3
That
weeks.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's funny though. Let me put down Yoda. If you guys can hear him, then there's that. There's also my foot's asleep, so I have to like move that around to try to wake it up. But that aside, going back to Star Wars, I have been engaging with so much Star Wars this week. I feel like Logan last week, to where he had so much to talk about. Like, I have so much I want to talk about, so I'll try to make it really quick and try to like hit my points really, really fast.
Don't do
But
it too fast.
the first thing I did, wait, do what?
I said, don't do it too fast.
Yeah, we want to hear.
Okay, that's true. We do have a whole podcast, so I guess
Yeah.
like we have a while to talk.
It is our own
But-
terms.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget that, even though it's our podcast. It's weird.
But anyways, take it away.
But
We're renting the
built
studio
on
by the hour.
Saturday. Yeah, it's expensive, and the show money hasn't come in yet, so we're still waiting. So
Maybe someday.
Unfortunately, it's harder to afford the studio. But on Saturday, for 10 hours, I built a not Lego Tanta 4. And you might be thinking, like, not Lego. Logan
Hey.
is a hardcore
Hey.
Lego truther.
I am
And
such a
I know.
curious- Don't listen to
The
me.
haters are going to comment stuff like, "Oh, the Legos are fake, just like your subscribers." I can read the comments now.
Stop giving them ammunition.
But I'm really giving them ammo. I gotta stop. But I'm really their best asset, I feel like, whenever it comes to that stuff. But it's funny because I did not want to spend like $300 on like the actual Lego Tanta 4.
Well,
300
much more
plus,
than
really.
that.
It's expensive now. It really is. It's like almost $400, $500 like in box. But I always wanted the 2019 Lego Tanta 4. And beyond that, I just wanted a Lego Tanta 4. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to get it, but the bootleg one's like $40 and it's on sale for $20 right now. I'm just going to get that because, like, how different can it really be? And to be honest with you,
How different was it? Tell us.
you can't really tell that it's like
Can
not
you, though?
Lego. Like, looking at it, no,
You-
seriously,
you
like,
can
I'm looking at
definitely
it right
tell.
now. No,
I can
no. Okay, but that's because like you know Lego, like you're just so deep in whenever it comes to like Lego stuff, But to the naked eye, it looks almost identical to like real Lego. And honestly, building it didn't feel too bad. Like sometimes with bootleg Legos, like you can feel a difference, and some of the pieces don't fit in the way that they
Yeah.
should. But for this particular like off-brand Lego, I have to say, it actually looks and felt pretty good to build. That all being said, much like how actual Legos have like the numbered bags, like bag number 1, and you open it up and like you dump out your parts and stuff.
Is it all in just plastic
It
bags?
is. It's all in one giant
Free
bag,
for all?
and you have to dump
Oh,
out everything.
wonderful.
Meaning, I had to
That's
siphon through the
horrible.
parts. It was a living hell, to say the least. Like literally,
How many
it was
pieces?
like Kailey, I don't want to.
I think it's like
answer that.
200.
Flashbacks.
It's like
There's
over a
flashbacks.
Why does it
thousand.
took you 10 hours? That's kind of insane, dude.
Dude, I'm getting war flashbacks just thinking
10
about it.
hours
Like
is
literally,
half as long as it took for me to build the Falcon. For reference.
literally, I built it while my friend was playing like a PS2 game on like my TV, and we were just like talking and stuff while I built it. But it took forever, and
Well, it's probably
it was
because like
only because I had
you
to
were like
siphon
going
through
through
like all of the
pieces.
parts. Yeah, it took a long time. So like a 4-hour build probably turned into like a 10-hour build. But I'm telling you, the sense of accomplishment that I felt after I built that thing and had it like ready to go, which if you don't have the set, it is huge. This set is like insanely like well done. Like the model's like really good, but it's really big. Like on my shelf right now, I'm looking at it as we speak. It barely fits on my shelf. Like I couldn't turn it diagonally or anything. I have to like, display it like horizontally, like in a straight line. But that was an insane build that took me pretty much my entire Saturday. But I'm telling you, it was so worth it. Like it looks so cool, and I'm glad to have it in my collection, even if it is not Lego. It's close enough. We'll call it what it is.
Yeah. Lego.
But to jump from building to reading, and Kailey, I know that you have read some of these books and you're very excited to talk about them. I'm actually very excited to hear your perspective on one of them specifically, because I think that we might disagree, but I'm actually excited to discuss it with you, because I just finished reading E.K. Johnston's Padme trilogy, or the Queen trilogy, whatever you want to call it. And as you guys know, I've been reading Star Wars canon books. I'm trying to catch up on all of the canon books, which is a lot, but It's been really fulfilling and really fun. So, Kailey, since I know that you're a big fan of these books, I will tell you my overview of the books, and then I would love to hear your thoughts on the books, okay?
Hit me. Hit me.
Got you. Okay, so Queen's Peril, which is technically book 2, but really book 1. I love this book. So this book I talked about a while back, I think, on the podcast. I think it was like 2 episodes ago. And without going too deep into spoilers, if you haven't read it, it basically tells you kind of everything about, like, after Padme was elected the Queen of Naboo and how she handled that, and you get to know her handmaidens. And without giving too much away, a certain point in the book, things start to overlap with the Phantom Menace, and I thought it was brilliant. Like, I didn't see it coming, and it was phenomenal, and recontextualized that movie in some really cool ways. So Queen's Peril, I thought, was great. I have not read the Ahsoka book by E.K. Johnston. I've heard amazing things about it from, like, Hannah. I know that you're a big fan of that book. But I have not read that one yet. It's on my list, which I can't wait to read it. So I was excited to read this trilogy to kind of get a feel for, like, E.K. Johnston's writing style. And Queen's Peril was just such an amazing start. Then I read Queen's Shadow, which Queen's Shadow is about Padme kind of transitioning from queen to senator and kind of her experience with that. And you get some really cool things, like Corday was not an original handmaiden. So you get to find out where, like, Corday came from, and you learn more about her. And kind of just, like, where Padme kind of gets to put, like, her foot in the ground whenever it comes to, like, senatorial stuff and dealing with, like, the Senate and off-world politics versus, like, just Naboo's politics. And 50% of the book, I felt like, was that, and that was the 50% of the book that I really loved. And honestly, I loved it so much, I would put it pretty much on par with how much I loved the entirety of Queen's Peril. However, I feel like the other 50% of the book was kind of like, I don't want to say all over the place, because I don't think it was all over the place, but I felt like maybe it kind of was just a little bit. Sorry, if you guys couldn't hear, Hunter randomly popped out of the call and then popped back into the call.
Somehow Hunter has returned.
I really hope that doesn't mess up your recording, Hunter. Now I'm kind of scared, because that's never happened before. So if you can't hear Hunter for the remainder of the podcast, that might be why.
Hopefully
But
it's still
hopefully that's
okay.
not the case. I think hopefully it'll be okay. If not, we'll just do, like, an in memoriam
His
for
thing
Hunter.
was, like, glitching
at
out
some
anyways.
Yeah.
You have to put that in.
He's saying yes. But Queen Shadow, like, 50% of the book I really loved. I thought it was excellent. The other 50% I felt maybe a little bit of a drag is the word, but I use that very loosely, because mainly I think that the book is really well done, and I liked it a lot. And then I read Queen's Hope, and Queen's Hope is a book.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
Oh my God.
I don't think
is it
that
still
it's, like,
written
the
by
worst
E.K.
thing
Johnston?
ever. It is still written by E.K. Johnston, and here's the thing, okay? It's not a spoiler for Queen's Shadow, because it happens in Revenge of the Sith, and it's really just kind of like the epilogue, in a way, to Queen's Shadow. But Queen's Shadow, the second book, basically is like Sabe's perspective on Padme's funeral, okay?
Yeah.
So, like, it's
pretty
kind
much.
of bleak, but you can kind of see where her story goes after that in, like, the Vader comics and things like that. And if anything, even if you don't read those, you know that Sabe still wants to continue to live to honor Padme's memory and everything that she did, even if the entire galaxy is now a place that is the complete opposite of what she believed in and tried to do in her life, which is just insanely sad, but also insanely sweet. The problem is that with Queen's Hope, for one, whenever the book started, how do I say this? First off, I don't like being negative. I feel like you guys know that, and I feel like
we
anybody
know.
who
We know.
follows me just doesn't like.
That's your whole brand.
Because I don't want my channel to turn into, like,
Yeah.
you said the whole brand.
It's
You
your
said
whole
that's so,
brand.
like, derogatory, Logan.
No. I don't
Not
mean it like that.
derogatory.
Bro, I'm literally the same way. That's why we're doing this.
Uh-huh.
That's true.
It's
No,
good.
I don't like
It's
to be
the truth, man.
negative. And I just got to be honest, this book was not my favorite at all.
I
I
totally
think that
agree.
it has some good moments. Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's
Dang.
like you were saying, it definitely has its moments, but at the end of the day, it is like a very sad book about a very sad event. And a lot of it feels like it drags on while you're waiting for the big event to happen. And when you finally get there, it's like, oh, okay, what now?
Well,
Great.
yeah. Well, Queen Shadow, like, what's weird is, like, because we ended with her funeral, Queen's Hope kind of felt like a backtrack because we were going to the wedding on Naboo after Attack of the Clones. Which I was like, okay, you know, this is interesting. I'm excited to see how it leads into Brotherhood, which is another book that was being written around the same time by Mike Chen, which I really love. And the problem is that Anakin and Padme and their relationship is probably the primary focus of the book. It most definitely really is. However, much like how I said that Queen Shadow I thought was a little all over the place, kind of here and there, it wasn't overbearing in that book. But I have to be honest, it was totally overbearing in this book. There were a lot of things that I thought were great in Queen's Hope, and I think that it's got some really good moments, especially with Anakin and Sabe and kind of like how they meet and stuff, which I thought was really funny but also really great. But the problem is that, like, the book doesn't... I felt like it didn't know what it needed to be. I felt like it didn't know if it wanted to be like an ending to the Padme trilogy, if it wanted to be a book about Anakin and Padme, if it wanted to be a book about kind of like the Clone Wars and the beginning of the conflicts. And I feel like it tries to be all of those, and I can see how it could work for someone. Like, I really can. But as much as I love Queen's Peril and as much as I really enjoyed Queen Shadow, sadly, I feel like this third book just did not stick the landing for me, which really
Yeah.
sucks because
It's so
I
interesting.
really like it. I feel like the trilogy kind of went down in quality, which sucks because there's so many good things about Padme in these books. It's such a weird book to talk about, Queen's Hope is, because, like, I don't even know where to start because, like, the entire time I was reading the book, I kind of felt empty because, like, it felt very plotless in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Like, it felt like there was, like, so much going on, but also there kind of wasn't, which is weird because it's a book at the
Yeah.
beginning of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, it was bizarre. But I highly recommend checking out the trilogy, regardless of what I think, because I think that if you're a big fan of Padme and love that character, and you really like the Clone Wars and the prequels, genuinely, I think that these books are going to be an interesting read for you. Because as much as I didn't enjoy Queen's Hope, there's still stuff in that book that E.K. Johnston writes that I did really like. And there's stuff in Queen's Peril. Queen's Peril across the board I thought was phenomenal. And I think that Queen's Shadow is a really, really solid book as well. So I still recommend reading the trilogy if you're a fan of her character and everything. But guys, I just gotta be honest, that third book was not for me. Big
gonna
day
do a
for the
review on
Jacob
it?
Likes Everything crowd.
Yeah.
The way I see it
This is like
plan on doing a
I'm
video
not for
for
that.
Hello?
Go ahead, Kailey, you're good.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, like, the way I see it is like book 1 and 2, it's almost like a continuation and background for the movies that they're connected to, so Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, whereas the third book, yes,
Right.
it's attached to its like movie, but it doesn't feel as much as like, here is some new information. Here is new things you don't know about the universe. It's essentially just like a retelling of episode 3, whereas 1 and 2, we really get to see how Padme grows into the queen that she becomes, how she gets there, and in book 2, we
Right.
get to see how she grows into her senator role, how she got there in the first place, which I thought was really interesting. So that's kind of how I see the series, where it's like 1 and 2, it's, hey, you love this universe, you love this character, here's more stuff about it. Whereas book 3, it's like, hey, here's everything you already know with like a bonus scene. Like, so
Yeah, I agree completely. It
Yeah.
felt like a lot of things in Queen's Hope I did already know, and it was just kind of seeing different reactions to it, which is done in the other books, but I think it's done so much better in those books versus Queen's Hope, because whereas Queen's Peril is a kind of like a companion piece to the Phantom Menace, and Queen Shadow's a kind of sort of lead into Attack of the Clones, I feel like what
We
should have been a
just get
book
more.
that kind of leads into Revenge of the Sith a little bit. It's not it tries to do so much and it just doesn't work, which
Yeah,
really
it's
disappointed me. But that's
yeah.
just me. So,
No, I totally
but
agree.
I'm glad to know that we agree. I was scared that we were going to disagree because Hannah told me that you really like these books prior
Oh,
to you
I
being on
do.
here.
I do.
So,
Book 3, it's definitely my least favorite of the three. I there's still moments in it that I think are great where it's like, yeah, we've seen this scene before, but we do get like some more details, or it's just kind of fun seeing from like different characters' perspective. Um, but overall, it's just, I think it's the least well done out of the group. Queen's Peril is definitely my favorite. Yeah. It's the first book. It's my favorite just because we get so much in that book that really expands what we know, and I think it's beautifully done. But yeah, like I remember when I finished the third book, kind of like almost comparing them, like, is this the same series? Is this the same author? Because this wasn't the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really drastic.
Yeah,
it's
very drastic.
I
especially
like. It's crazy because I don't even like. I haven't read any of them and stuff, but I'm wondering where it sounded like it went so wrong. Because I mean, you're saying that like half of the book was like really, at least, or maybe that was like the second book or whatever.
That's the second one. You can kind of see the seeds of the problem in Queen's Shadow just a little bit. I think Queen's Hope just struggles with a lack of focus.
To the wars.
That's the biggest one.
Because you said that Hope was about like Anakin. Was that because I mean I'm getting all these like names mixed up because I don't have a visual for all these. But that's crazy that like it it tripped on itself basically is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that
I think
it has multiple POVs.
Oh really?
Yes. So like it. I'll let you tell it, Kailey. You're good. You're the guest.
Thank you. So throughout the whole series, so all three books, we don't just get Padme's perspective. We get perspectives from those around her, characters we quote unquote don't know yet. Like for example, in the first book, we get a POV from a dark force, which is Emperor Palpatine, which is like we don't know that in the first book. So, but like throughout the series, you get all these different perspectives, and I think the third book, that one, it's almost like too many POVs, and that helps derail it because it's like too many cooks in the kitchen, too many perspectives, and it makes everything kind of more cloudy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I pretty much agreed with everything you said. It's like there's so much that we already know in that book, and it does have good moments. There's good stuff with Padme and Sabe and Anakin in that book. However, I feel like it's just kind of oddly bland compared to the other two, which is really disappointing. But to quickly kind of jump from the Padme books to the other two I've been reading, Mask of Fear, I'm still listening to the audiobook of that, and it's fantastic. I need to get back on that. Oh, dude, like, listening to that book after the Padme books, I know I said it last week too, but, like, it seriously has been, like, devastating.
It's a very dark time in the timeline right now.
Insanely dark time. And so it's, like, it's so sad to jump from, like, Padme, who's very, like, it even says stuff in Queen's Hope about, like, marrying Anakin and they're at war, but she's optimistic for a happy future with him and for the galaxy, and like
I hate it here.
You just know you're not gonna get that, which is gut wrenching. And reading Mask of Fear is kind of like
it's really sad.
Twisting the knife a little bit. It's
and
so
even make
sad.
callbacks to Padme's funeral.
They do.
Yeah.
And it just makes it even worse.
It was crazy. Because when I was watching, what was it? It was Tales of the Jedi. It was like the last episode, like with like Ahsoka, and it starts with Padme's funeral, and then you get to see Bail and Mon Mothma standing together, and then in the book it mentions that they were standing together at Padme's funeral, and I was like, oh my god, it's all coming together.
Pain.
Anyways, continue.
Oh, it's so sad. No, but that one's sad. And then I was going to read Thrawn Ascendancy next. But my friend Jonathan Cohn, Jonathan, shout out to you if you're listening. And if you're not subscribed to Jonathan Cohn's YouTube channel, you definitely should be. Because if you love books and love BookTube, you should definitely check out his stuff. Because he talks more than just Star Wars books. So he's a great channel. He's a good friend of mine. But Jonathan suggested that I read the first canon Thrawn trilogy first. Because apparently there's things in Thrawn Ascendancy in that trilogy that connect to Timothy Zahn's first Thrawn trilogy, kind of jumping back into the new canon, which started in 2017, around the time I believe that he was introduced in Rebels, which is really cool too. But this book, I can't even lie. I want to say I'm like close to 200 pages in, and I just started today. This book is amazing. This book is so good.
Okay.
Like, I'm telling you, I was scared because after I did not really care for Mace Windu the Glass Abyss, and then I did not really care for Queen's Hope, I was kind of getting a little bit scared. I'm telling you, this book is one of the best Star Wars books I think I've ever read, and I'm only 200 pages in. This book is phenomenal. Like, everyone talks about, like, the EU Thrawn, but the Ascendancy trilogy I'm reading next. So this is the first canon Thrawn trilogy. There's two. But I'm telling you, like, I thought EU Thrawn was good, and I like canon Thrawn and like Ahsoka and Rebels and stuff, but like this is like next level because you get to see kind of like how like the Empire recruited him, and he's like one of the few aliens within the Empire because they're xenophobic, and they don't like aliens. They're very mean to them. And Thrawn is kind of treated that way, but because Thrawn is so cool and calculated, he does things in this book that I just found amazing. Like, not to give away spoilers, but like at one point in the book, this is like very minor, so like if you are reading the book, it's not like a huge deal if I say this. Or if you haven't read the book, but there's a part at like the Imperial Academy at the very beginning where Thrawn gets assaulted by like these like hooded assailants, right? Because like they just don't like him because he's an alien. And so Thrawn reports it to like the guy, like the main guy with like his friend, the commander, and he basically tells him like all this stuff, and the commander's like, well, do you want to punish them, or like what do you want me to do? And Thrawn's like, no, I don't want you to punish them. I want you to transfer them to combat training for fighter pilots. And he's like, you want to relocate them? Like, why do you want to do that? And Thrawn's like, because the way they attacked me, they were like single yet together. And so their thought process was like, they were fighting me and like hitting me.
He said, I'm familiar with your game.
And he's like, their combat skills could be useful
he's
in like TIE fighters.
Bro is insane.
And so he's like, but what I want you to do is I want you to send them there, but whenever you relocate them, they're going to fall asleep every night in the barracks, wondering why they were relocated, and they're going to be walking on eggshells for like a month. So in a way, that fear is their punishment, but at the same time, their strength will be utilized. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, oh man, like, that's the kind of Thrawn that I love right there.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Ender from Ender's Game.
Yeah. Oh my god, deep cut.
Super deep cut, but I appreciated it. But no,
I gotta read the Thrawn book that Brooke gave me. I'm waiting.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, you should.
I ought to, but like it's set right after Rebels season 2, and like I don't know if I could push through an entire book before I start the 3rd season. Actually, maybe it would be a good buffer. I don't know.
I've wanted to read all of the Thrawn books for so long. Like, Kailey even knows every time we go into Barnes & Noble together, they have the whole, like, Ascendancy trilogy, and they have the covers that I want of it right now, and I'm like, I want them! And I just haven't
bought them. Like the Chimera one?
Yes, they're so cool.
They're so good.
Those are hot.
They are really cool.
Ones with like the all red and then the all
and like the red and like white and black.
And the bookworm in me is like, Hannah, just get them. It's okay.
I should just get them.
Yeah. The thing about me is that I always buy books and I
they're
don't
so
read
worth
them.
it.
So it's like I'm like, oh,
yeah. Well, that's my whole shelf right now is books that I have yet to read.
Yeah. The TBR list.
Makes me feel smart without actually being smart. Yeah.
I'm telling you though, this book is amazing so far. I cannot wait.
I can't wait to hear more about it.
And it's a trilogy, so I can't wait to talk more about it. But
and those are big books too.
They're huge. I will say the Ascendancy trilogy, the one I'm reading next, I thought that these Thrawn books were big. No, the Ascendancy trilogy, those are huge. Like the last book, I think it's called like Lesser Good or something like that, Lesser Evil, something like that.
Something like that.
The final Ascendancy book is like almost 600 pages. It's huge.
Oh, actually.
So I'm a little intimidated by that one. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. Thank you. I try. But the last thing I want to yap about, and then I will finally pass the mic. 40 minutes in.
Oh my
gosh.
Jeez.
We yapped about books today.
The last thing I want to talk about.
A long one today.
We're going to have a long podcast
We have
today.
a topic to talk about today, too. I just wanted to mention that.
We do.
This episode is for the bookworms, sponsored by bookworms. Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Speak your truth.
But I think we can have a longer podcast this time around. The people have been supporting us. They've been waiting.
Yeah.
You know,
they listen.
We owe them like a good hour 30, hour 45 podcast.
Gosh. Relax.
You know?
Chill out.
Hold on, that's nearing like your 100K anniversary. Like that's a prize.
24 hours.
That's when we do the 24-hour stream.
24-hour stream.
24-hour stream.
It'd be crazy.
On a Friday night, so we can all be there.
But
there's a lot that you could do with it, though.
I will actually save the last thing that I was going to talk about for the next podcast because it's a really cool idea. But I think it could be something that we talk about in the next one. So I will save it. And Logan, I know that you really want to talk about the game that you've been playing and everything. And it also kind of fits perfectly in line with the part of the timeline that we've been talking about. So Logan,
when Logan joined us before we started recording.
Oh yeah, I'll get there. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
It's your turn.
All right,
you got
Let's hear it.
This is where the fun begins.
So, last time we checked in, welcome back to Logan's little timeline binge, yap sesh. Last time we checked in, I was starting Solo: A Star Wars Story, and then I stopped watching Solo: A Star Wars Story because I got bored. Let's see.
What?
Oh no! I think I started Solo.
You had watched a lot of content that day, I think.
Yeah. To be fair, I think I had just finished like the Bad Batch, and I had just finished Fallen Order that day or whatever. So I started Solo. What do I have written here down? Amazing movie. I have to add, Solo is so underrated. It may or may not be. I think it might be a top 5 Star Wars movies for me. I don't know for sure. My list is always changing, but every single time I watch Solo, I love it even more. It has such a good aesthetic, an incredible soundtrack. The characters are really engaging and fun.
Woody Harrelson, isn't it?
It's Woody Harrelson, like
Woody. What a guy.
Donald Glover was great as Lando. Alden Ehrenreich as Han. Bring him back because there were some moments, especially when they're on Vandor and stuff, where it's like I could see Harrison Ford's face, like as an echo through Alden, and I'm like, dude, it's
it made me so mad when people are like, he doesn't look like him. I'm like,
yeah, no, he embodies him.
Like, so well.
Yeah, and even Harrison Ford.
And the guy who plays Chewie, man, he looked just like him.
Yeah, no, whoever the cast of Chewbacca, man, give that hairy man an Oscar.
Growing hair all over your body.
Oh, Hannah, I think you would like this note that I had written down.
Yes.
In the scene where Dryden is talking about how they need to get coaxium again with Beckett and Han. Han's like, we'll go to Kessel, we'll steal it from the mines, and then Dryden says, no, we can't do that because Crimson Dawn has a fragile alliance with the Pikes, and I was like, oh my god, Outlaws mentioned because they have a fragile relationship with the Pikes. Obviously, the Pikes did. Beckett and all of them were with Crimson Dawn.
the whole game.
Exactly. So when you get to Outlaws now, they're gonna have like a really, really tense, like, you know, situation where like where Kay is gonna be sort of, you know, not. Oh my God. Double crossing all of them. I almost said cross dressing them. Definitely
this
not
is how
that.
we get
Double crossing them.
All right.
Yeah, no, this is how we get KVS back. So I thought it was really, really cool. And also I enjoy what they're doing with kind of like writing Crimson Dawn into all this other stuff, because there was something else that, I think, you know, we got a little bit of Dryden in the Clone Wars, like very briefly. And we're getting them obviously in Outlaws. And I think that the Bad Batch, I think, what's her name had mentioned them as well. Fennec Shand.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I have that down. We got to see the Falcon for the first time, and let me tell you,
it's pretty.
That has never felt more earned to me. It feels like we were finally getting it, like after months of me, like, you know, watching all this stuff. To see the Falcon and to hear the main theme, like, you know, orchestrated by John Williams and stuff. To be able to say, like, and to see that ship and then know all that stuff that ship will do, it gave me chills. I was so excited to see it. And same thing with like the end of the film or like even when they're doing the Kessel Run and Han and Chewbacca finally sit in the cockpit together and start flying it. Synchronized, yeah, like they're like flying.
It's so
good. And
also,
if
I may interject for a quick moment, the scene like when they're going through Kessel and Han like flips the Falcon and it hits that one TIE fighter.
Yes.
Oh my God, incredible!
I love it so
much.
The
whole thing is so
also,
cool.
John
Kessel Run is just
score for Solo is so good.
It is.
What do I have here? Yeah, like it was just a really good movie. Honestly, Solo is a movie that I recommend people if they're watching Star Wars for the first time sometimes. Because I think that like the plot is really good because you just follow Han throughout it, you know? But like I said, like it was just really cool seeing sort of everything start to build up. You know, we're getting Lando there. We have like Maul and Crimson Dawn, which we're not really going to see, but we're going to see Maul later in Rebels, which is going to be cool.
Heck yeah.
God, what else do I have? Yeah, no, Solo was a banger. Bring back Enfys Nest, because she's a really cool character, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen anything more of her. There's so many instances where you can put her in nowadays, and I think that she'd be pretty fun.
Set it up to, and then just left it alone.
Yeah, I would love, like, everybody always advocated for it, but I think a sequel to Solo would actually be healing for me.
Exactly.
Yes, make Solo 2 happen.
Make Solo 2 happen. Big Shot Gangster putting together a crew. I have that line written down because I think it's so funny to me. Because it was in like every single trailer.
I've always thought it would be cool to open up Solo 2 with like, you have like the stars, you know? Like it looks like a black screen with like the white stars that we're used to seeing. And all of a sudden you hear Jabba the Hutt's voice and it cuts to Han with a bag over his head.
Oh my God.
Oh, so like it's not stars, it's the light coming through the bag.
You are
and so it just immediately locks you
that
in.
Is actually,
I think it's so cool.
Dude, I just got chills. That was sick.
Right?
You better get some writer's credit for that, man.
Yeah.
What's the Thanos thing? Like I'll do it myself. I'll make Solo happen on my own.
Yeah.
Solo 2.
What else do I have written down? Oh yeah, so I finished Solo. That was great. And then I think a year later comes a little show called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Never heard of it.
My gosh. You know, okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a really funny thing for me because as much as I can understand people's gripes with it, none of it really bothers me. I think that it's held back by a budget, and I think what does work really works. I wanted to mention episode 1 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Hannah. There is a species in the little bar. You may know them as the Melito. But they are the ones that are like they're the species that is the Ashiga clan. So I was like, oh, there it is, you know. So we were trying to figure that out. Yeah. So it was an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's see. Yes. We got our first mention of the hidden path, which I think is a really cool concept, which gets explored later on. But seeing like, I had it written down. I said it's interesting how like the beginning of like the rebellion is kind of fueled by like the Jedi, survivors and stuff. And how it later sort of falls into the hands, Jedi Survivor mention, and how it falls into the hands of the regular people later on. Because like you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's like kind of like leading the charge for a lot of this stuff on God, what's the planet name? I forget.
Jabim?
Mapuzo or Jabim. Wait, what's Mapuzo? Oh, Mapuzo is the not is like the one that's in California, right?
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of planets in Obi-Wan. Oh my god!
I think it's in Hollywood. I think you're right.
Yeah. So it was great seeing. Okay, I think I mentioned this. Oh my god, Obi-Wan had so much good stuff. In terms of like the time. Oh my god, I just bumped up my mic. Because we got to see Bail Organa again for the first time since he was in the Bad Batch.
My Pookie.
My Shayla. We also got to see Alderaan properly this time.
My favorite planets. Do you understand how happy I was to see Alderaan in the show so much?
Dude, Obi-Wan gave us so much. Like I think it was the first time we saw Coruscant since like forever, I think.
I love Alderaan so much.
Yeah.
Why is he gone?
That's one thing.
Leia, fantastic seeing her.
Cutie patootie.
Cutie patootie. Bit odd knowing that it takes place a year after Solo, but I won't really get into that. What else? Like, Reva, fantastic character. I don't care what anybody else says. I think that Reva is incredible. I think we mentioned it last time, but I love that there are so many failed Inquisitors. I just think that it's a really like hopeful aspect of that whole program. I think it's interesting that Owen and Beru told Luke, because Luke is also in this. Oh my god, this is the first time we've seen him since Revenge of the Sith.
I love little Luke. I love that when he was doing the racing.
Yes.
On the
house. Oh my god. I can talk about Obi-Wan for so long because there's just so many like important factors that play into that, and
it's like Luke's
Darth Vader in that show.
Yes. Vader, incredible. I love that.
I feel like I interrupted Hannah. My bad.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
What were you
Did I talk about? Yeah.
I was gonna say Luke's actor. I feel like was cast really. Same with Vivian for Leia. They look just like I would think that they would look at that age. But Luke's actor specifically was funny to me because he kind of looks like my cousin Luke did at that age. So I was like, wait a second.
What are the odds?
Shout out to cousin Luke.
The actor that played young Luke in Obi-Wan Kenobi is also the kid that plays the child version of Golden Freddy in the FNAF movie. I just thought that's a really fun.
I did not know that.
Watch the FNAF movie and it's little Luke. What else? Oh my god. Yeah, Vader. We got to see the Fortress Inquisitorius again. And it was so funny because like I think it's oh my god, what's Ice Cube's son's name in the show?
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. What's his
Ice Cube's son's name?
Wait, what's his character's name? Anyways, him.
Hold on.
He was like nobody's ever broken into the Fortress Inquisitorius, and you're like
broken.
Actually,
broken. Yes, thank you. So it was cool seeing that again. It looks a little different to how it did in Jedi Fallen Order. I think that is partially intentional.
Do you remember how in shambles everybody online was? They're like, look, it looks so lifeless. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's be real for a second.
Let's be real. It is like, I feel like so much. I was playing Jedi Survivor, and we'll get into that too. We were playing Jedi Survivor, and I was like, I was climbing around.
It's okay.
We'll give you guys time. I was climbing around, and I was like, these just like random pipes and stuff that I'm climbing on would not exist if this were like, true, like whatever, like so much of that was made for the game, basically.
Video game.
Cal Kestis Wall, yes. What else did I have written? So Obi-Wan happened. Jedi Survivor takes place in the same year as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Vader is having the time of his life this year, I think.
He really is.
Having a good time.
Yeah. So we got to see more of the hidden path through Seer Junda.
This isn't even counting the comics.
Yes,
I know. God, don't even.
There's so much Vader stuff going on.
Yeah. What did I have written? We got a High Republic callback with Dagan Gera. Not even like a callback, a full like story revolving the High Republic concerning Dagan Gera and it was cool that we got like a Nile mention. And like this just ties like when I was watching, I think Obi-Wan, I was kind of thinking to myself, okay, like we're here right now, but I feel like the Acolyte doesn't really have much to do with anything now. But then seeing how important the High Republic was to Jedi Survivor, I'm like, okay, like it's worth the watch.
Yeah. I'm glad they brought it back in that game too.
Yeah, and I think that was the first time we ever saw it visually. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Guys, the
High
Shattered
Republic's
Moon
also mentioned a lot in like the books, which I think is great. Because like, and I'm not just talking about like the High Republic books themselves. I'm talking about like prequel books, and even later on, like they'll say like, oh, that's from the High Republic era. And so I think it's cool because like the High Republic is very much the comics and books, and that kind of defines that era. So it is cool to have it with Din Gera in the game, but I do think it's cool that it's like mostly exclusive to like the medium that it's presented in.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, I finished Jedi Survivor not even like before I joined this call. I finished it while I was on the call, like while we were waiting to record. Spoilers? Am I allowed to talk spoilers? It's been long enough, right?
It's been out for a long time.
I'm gonna turn this down because I still intend to finish the game, so give me a signal.
Close your ears, Hunter.
Let me know when
Hunter
you can't hear me.
Yet.
Okay, wait. Hunter, can you hear us?
He's good.
Okay, cool. All right, so spoilers ahead for Jedi Survivor. I think Bo Dakuna is one of my favorite characters of all time for Star Wars. I think...
Interesting.
You know, because what happened... Okay, so he survived the Purge. He was in hiding. He found Kata's mother. They start a family, and then all of a sudden he gets hunted by the Inquisitors. His wife sacrifices herself to buy them time to escape. Eventually, they find him. He cuts a deal with this ISB officer, because the ISB is finally around now. Really cool. And he's like, okay, like I'll keep you hidden if you do stuff for me. So that's why. And so it's interesting because Bode is doing all this stuff for his family. He's not even doing it for the Empire, really. Like, it sucks because like, you can really, really feel the connection between him and Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so tragic, and you can tell how much he cares for his daughter, and how much he was even pushing for Cal to be like, hey, like, go after Marin. Like, my wife was like the best thing to happen to me. Like, all this and that. Like, I think he's an incredible, incredible character.
I think so too.
And Seer in this game, my God, incredible! God. I wasn't a huge fan of Seer in Fallen Order when I first played it all those years ago. I've grown quite fond of her now. I remember the first time I played that portion.
This game.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played that portion. After you fight Bode for the first time, and then Cal is like, you're like revived, but then like it cuts to Seer defending the like her archive on Jedha.
When that first happened,
I was screaming playing it, and I think that she's so cool.
Dude, it's cool that you say that, because if I can build on that, Hunter's wondering if he can come back in, and the answer is no, because we're still talking spoilers. But what's cool about that whole scene, as heartbreaking of an end that it has with Seer kind of losing to Darth Vader, everyone likes to paint Vader as like this angry, invincible force, you know?
Yeah.
And especially in Obi-Wan, you see that a lot, like how he's like snapping necks with like the Force and doing this insane stuff. But I love whenever it shows that Darth Vader is not invincible. I love whenever it makes him like someone that can be defeated.
Because I think it makes him scarier.
Almost
to be
dies.
honest.
Seer almost kills him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Seer almost like kills him. Like she
crushes
almost
him with these
wins.
archives. Yeah.
And like the way that he just like walks off.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And, like broken.
Feels
like,
that, like actually.
You can tell that there was like
a
sign of respect from Vader of like, you know what, you stood your own against me. You know, like that.
That fight,
man, that is such
incredible.
A good duel. Amazing.
Thankfully, this time around, I beat it first try, so like I had that sort of like, you know, vibe.
I always see those moments of Vader as like a little hint, be coming through.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so we got Vader back. Incredible that you actually got to fight him this time, and like you see how large he is too. Yeah, he towers over Seer. Incredible game. Oh, and then like the last thing before spoilers like are done, I guess, is that I realized this time around that when like Seer dies and stuff, and then all of a sudden Cal is like holding her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that what was happening was that he made his way back probably like hours later or whatever, and he's holding her body, and then he feels this like through the psychometry everything that happened. So it's almost like you were reliving Seer's final moments through Cal's Force visions.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really, really well done. But yeah, I finished it up, and we like fought Bode on Tanalorr, which Tanalorr is a really cool concept. I hope that we see Tanalorr more with the hidden path. I hope that that's kind of like where they're building it to in Jedi 3. Because I think that it's a really interesting planet, and there's like so much that it can tie into with everything going on with like the High Republic, obviously. But we can sort of get some more insight into like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And like those events and stuff. It'd be, oh my god, imagine if Jedi 3 had Roken, and then what's his name? Oh my god, what's the guy with the not Jedi guy? Oh my god, I need to look.
Haja
Estri, yes, exactly. It'd be cool to see him in the sequel. I don't even care. Throw him in there, give him Turgle. I don't, Okay, Turgle. Hunter, you're good. You are good now, Hunter.
I love. I think Sawyer is Turgle's #1 fan. I like all of her posts about him instantly.
Yeah. All right, Hunter is back.
Somehow Hunter returned.
Oh, maybe not yet. I wanted to mention this though. That you get so much lore when you're exploring the area, and I remember kind of being like impartial about what Kobo was, because I was like, okay, this is a really big planet, The moon, guys, the shattered moon. Okay, I walked into that one. The shattered moon. Guess why it's shattered?
I know why it's shattered.
Hunter, you're still muted. If you can hear us.
Is it because of the Great Hyperspace Incident?
It is. I didn't or I must have forgotten.
That's how far I got.
It said like the emergencies, and I was like, oh my god. And then I looked at it, and it said like, it said Kobo's moon was like shattered by a great hyperspace disaster, called emergencies, and I was like, no way.
Never connected that when that resurfaced during the Acolyte, but when I was playing the game, I was like, oh, that's so, and I figured out, but I totally forgot about that when all that.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I thought that was so smart.
It is really cool. It's cool seeing callbacks to the High Republic that way too.
Yeah.
As someone that recently just got really into the High Republic and is now officially caught up. By the way, I didn't talk about Haunted Starlight, but Haunted Starlight on Audible, which is the new audiobook that they dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Really good read. It reminded me of like those EU books that you would find at like a book fair. When you were a kid, like growing up, and you would just like read it and get kind of sucked in because it was Star Wars. But Haunted Starlight's really good, and honestly made me appreciate the audio drama Seeds of Starlight even more. So really good stuff with the High Republic too, by the way. So if you haven't read the High Republic, I'm working on a video about it. I highly recommend it. I think you'd like it.
I can't read,
but the people have been asking for a High Republic episode. But I think more of us would have to get into it than just Jacob.
I think we all need to lock in to a book club.
I got it. I got it.
I have a list of books this long I gotta get through first.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at in Star Wars. Now I just need to watch Andor season 1, and that'll be really exciting because I'm waiting till Andor season 2 comes out to watch it. And again, I will be posing the dilemma about what do I do about Rebels, because that is in between everything.
I think it would be a good point to kind of start it now, and then
start Andor now.
Andor.
No, because Rebels on my list.
You're right.
Apparently, all of Andor season 1 takes place within the same year, and then Rebels happens shortly after. So I got to do the math. We know that 3 episodes per Andor season 2 take place like once per year, leading into Rogue One. So I think I got to do the math and be like, okay, I know that this takes place in this year, this takes place in that year, and then be like, okay, I'll just watch whatever Rebels is in between. I think that's the best way to do it, to be honest.
That's a smart idea. That'll be really cool to watch it like that too.
Yeah, but it's like, do I want to tonally like jumble up everything with like Andor, because I know Andor's a very serious tone, and then like mix in like Rebels with that, at least in like all that stuff. But also,
I mean,
like,
but it happens at the same time.
Yeah, but like because we're getting like the Gorman massacre, and then jumping to like fight or flight. I think
it's gonna be like deep emotional pain, and then
I can't wait to see it happen in real time.
Yeah, so I think it'd be cool though, because we do have like Mon Mothma, declaring the rebellion forming. So I think I kind of need to do that. I gotta watch. I wish I knew what episode the Gorman Massacre happens in.
Nope.
I'm just gonna ignore you guys. I gotta figure out when it happens because I want to make sure that I do it right. I don't want to just have I don't want to jump around too early or too late. But that's it. That's it for me. Thanks for listening to me ranting about Star Wars again. All right.
So Hannah, what about you?
I haven't really done much since the last time we talked. I'm not gonna lie.
When did you put on the Disney ears?
Like 30 minutes
when you
ago.
started talking about Solo.
Oh, yeah, man, okay. I did. I'm wearing, for those who cannot see, which is everybody, I have on the Disney ears that have the Vader saber and Luke's blue saber, which is also Anakin's.
Which is also Rey's.
Which is, but not yet.
Anakin headband.
Which is also Luke's.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Which is also mine because I bought it at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Which is also in the expanded universe, Mara Jade.
Mara Jade. Okay. Which is also Obi-Wan Kenobi's because he's technically had it the long.
Which is also on Disney's website.
Yeah,
we can do this for hours.
Which is also on the Spotify thing if you listen to a Star Wars song.
Oh no.
On PC.
But only on the web browser.
Only on the web browser.
I have not engaged in anything new since the last time we spoke on here. Been busy. I actually had kind of a weekend. But I was gonna bring this up when you were talking about Solo, and then I just didn't yet. But did you guys see the new coaxium?
Yes.
Drink sipper that they're doing at Disneyland for Seasons of the Force.
So cool.
Yes.
It looks so cool. Like that's probably one of my favorite Star Wars sippers that they've made. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I really like it.
It does look awesome.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Galaxy's Edge so bad.
We need to
go back.
Meet up at Galaxy's Edge.
It's been 4 long years since I've been to Galaxy's Edge, sadly.
It's been since May. Oh my god, it's almost been a year since I've gone.
Oh, Logan.
It's been almost 2 weeks for me.
Okay, Hunter. Sure thing.
Well, Hunter, what about you? Have you engaged with any Star Wars stuff?
I started watching Andor again. I watched the first 3 episodes.
Saw that. Yeah.
So good. I love my little B2 little boy.
B2 emo.
This is really weird, but I really love when he says, Bubba Bix.
Bubba Bix.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a vocal stem.
Bubba Bix.
I love that B2 emo is one of the few droids in Star Wars that actually sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
Like, C-3PO has such a human voice and, like, K2SO and all that stuff, but, like, usually B2 Eamon is like, I am a robot. Like, Cassian.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
When he stutters, it kind of reminds me of Dio.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Oh, shout out Dio. He's so cute.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
He's also voiced by
J.J. Abrams.
My father, J.J. Abrams.
Yep.
J.J. Goatbrums.
My goat.
Goatbrums.
Thank you, Hunter.
Wait,
yeah.
I'm actually this is like prophecy. I'm wearing my Rise of Skywalker Spirit jersey right now. I knew JJ was going to be mentioned. I had a feeling.
I saw this tweet on the topic of Andor and on the topic of JJ Abrams. It was so funny because when Disney released a special look at Andor season 2, it was like a 2-minute long like sizzle reel basically of what we're getting in store. And we saw a lot about the Gorman massacre that's going to be happening, and it's a very dark thing going on.
Lock in, everybody.
Yeah, I saw there was a tweet and it was like JJ Abrams, what if Chewbacca got his medal that he didn't get at the Hope? And it's like Tony Gilroy. What if we watched like thousands of people get slaughtered by this like fascist regime? I was like, I love
Tony Gilroy. My man.
like nothing against JJ Abrams, but I think it's so funny that those two things are facts that happen like because of Star Wars.
It's like
but also, just to put it out there, not that I think that any of us are like the Chewie metal scene like haters, but that scene, the medal that Chewie gets is not his own medal, it's Han's medal.
Oh!
It's the one that Maz gives him.
No way.
At the very end. Yeah.
Bruh.
Yes, it's true.
That
so
hurts.
it's like, she's like, Chewie, this belongs to you. So after everything is all said and done, after the galaxy wins and tyranny is defeated, he gets his best friend's medal instead of his
That's
own.
adorable.
The one that Leia
So
was
it makes
holding
it really
too, like when she
sweet.
sacrificed herself.
Sure is.
Damn.
It's
Wow.
so
Thank
sad.
you,
Yeah,
Jacob, for
said
continually
anyway.
giving me more reasons to like Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good.
You're so welcome. It's my job.
Good.
I'm working overtime on that one, buddy.
Yeah.
His volunteer job because he
My
doesn't
friend.
get paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've been in the trenches for too long with that movie.
Yeah, me too.
But,
I'm right there with you. I'm right next to you.
Hunter is like the only person I know that unconditionally loves that movie as much as I do.
I love it
Appreciate you,
conditionally.
Yeah, I got you. Well, back on Andor because I was interrupted. I'm a sucker for the little shootout they have in episode 3.
Oh. Love it.
In that little whatever the heck it is, the machine shop, I guess. I don't know.
You know, the chains.
Yeah. I'm just a sucker for shootouts and action scenes with no music. I think it makes things
That's
a lot
true.
more like visceral.
Makes it more intense.
It feels like I watched a lot of. I grew up in Oklahoma and I still live here. But we watched a lot of westerns when I was a kid, so that had a lot of gunfights. So I really love a gunfight with no music.
Very well.
And then just when Cassian and Luthen are escaping, I love the build up and the little deception they have with that speeder.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
And the Irish, Scottish policeman going saying, "Oh, that!" when they get thrown off.
Yeah, we got our first like S8.
Our first actual curse word.
Yeah, first proper Earth curse word.
Hank Ferrick or Griff.
Because like I
one.
genuinely think that if he had said like a Star Wars curse word, it would not have worked in this show.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
No.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I also started Mask of Fear. I'm only like 3 chapters.
Oh yeah, I saw that. How are you
I'm
liking
the only
it?
one that needs to start it.
Hannah, it's on Spotify. Gotta get it on.
It's so good.
We're gonna book club this right now. I think I'm gonna restart.
Well, if it's on
Mask of Fear,
Spotify,
actually.
I can listen to it while I clean stalls.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
It's just someone comes up to her and you're like, Hannah, why are you crying? She's like bent over in a stall.
That happens to me because I listen to my podcast while I clean stalls, and sometimes I'll have it on like Trixie and Katya, and then somebody will walk in and it's just like drag queen screaming, and I'm like, oh. Let me turn this down.
No, Hannah, I was gonna say you can be like me and listen to the audiobook at like 3 times speed. Like someone chaotic that also has ADHD.
I could never do that.
I can't.
I'm 1.75.
Especially not with Star Wars because like it gives you like the music and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta listen. The way it's
I've said it once and I'll say it again. The only time that it gets like bad is like with the music. Because you'll be hit with like da 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 da, or if like there's a Wookiee character like Buryaga in the Higher Republic, you'll get hit with like it's like
an Animal Crossing version of a Wookiee.
It's so funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Now imagine if we did the gunfire at 3 times speed. They put the gunfire in the audiobook.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Kailey, what about you? Have you been into any Star Wars stuff lately?
Not really. I get my Star Wars stuff pretty much from Hannah. Like, I'll get her updates of her Star Wars stuff.
What a good influence.
She watched me play Outlaws.
Yes.
Cool. Sweet.
That's my update. My update is whatever Hannah has done.
Well, now you have to read Mask of Fear with us. So
I'm down. Okay, Hannah, we're going to Barnes & Noble tomorrow.
She'll add it to her.
Copies of your best.
Kailey, y'all don't understand how much of a reader Kailey. How many books did you read last year?
I believe it ended at 63.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever read 63
I'm a physical book reader, so I don't do audiobooks. So it's like 63 books in my hand that I'm reading at one speed because I can't make my eyes and brain go 3 times.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, I will say this. Now we kind of have to take a vote because right now, roughly, we're like an hour and 10 minutes into our conversation. And I think we've had a very good conversation. So
I agree.
We did have a main topic planned. However, I would like to raise the idea that we save that for a full episode for episode 9 next week. Are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
I am totally
because
okay.
It's a very big topic.
It is.
And I feel like we all have a ton of thoughts on it. And I'm not opposed to a longer podcast, but like I think
that's a good idea.
An entire episode. Yeah. I think it would work better because we've covered a lot of eras and a lot of different mediums here from video games.
It definitely deserves
just
its own
a lot of
discussion.
Yes.
I'll try not to watch so much in between.
We had a basement yard moment.
Yeah.
This episode's been like nothing but like a full-on discussion, and I feel like it's been really fun because like we've jumped around different eras and like it's cool to see where everybody's at, and I feel like we're all kind of like weirdly in the same
gearing
spot,
up.
you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And next week we're going to be on an even bigger era with even bigger possibilities, and I am very excited to talk next week. And because we can wait an extra week on this, we can take notes and stuff, and we can be like, hey, this is what we would like to see in XYZ. I don't want to spoil it yet. So it's a big episode next week. So if you are listening, stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one.
You know, it's going to be about Star Wars, so, you know.
Yeah, it'll be about Star Wars. So
it's about Star Wars.
You mean the Lightspeed podcast is about Star Wars?
Well, we're not
No, I thought
hold on.
Last week I thought we were doing Star Trek, so.
No, that's true.
I thought we were doing Star Trek last week. So.
Oh, darn.
You know.
Darn.
No, but I guess now, do y'all want to kind of wrap things up, or what do y'all want to do?
Yeah, bring us home, dude.
Sweet, that sounds
Bring
great.
him home.
Kailey, first off. Kailey, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It's been great having you here.
Thanks for letting me hang out.
Thanks, Goat.
No problem. Thank you for sharing your opinions and input on the Padme books and stuff.
Thank you. I'm glad I could share my obsession.
But thank you guys so much, as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to become a channel member, link is down next to the subscribe button for that as well. And until the next podcast, may the Force be with you.